This video is going to focus intently on one particular offensive concept that the Detroit Lions used in their 34-31 win over the Packers on Thanksgiving Day. It's a toss counter scheme that was run by Amon-Ra St. Brown. And I will get to the breakdown here in a moment, but I feel like it's important before showing the play to just point out and question how many receivers at his level would even be willing to run this concept. He's an extremely unique football player. Ben Johnson knows that. And on some of these anomalous or seldom seen concepts, like a toss counter that's really not seen at the NFL level hardly at all, even the college football level. It's generally a high school play at this point. It's still very effective. I think it takes advantage of teams that want to play man-to-man defenses and move players on motion. In this case, it's going to be a tight end in motion. I'm also going to point out the brilliant usage of Penei Sewell, either at the point of attack, meaning run to the right, which the Lions did on a 4th and 1 in the last minute of the game to essentially seal the win before Jake Bates actually made it official with the field goal to prevail 34-31, but also on counter schemes where Sewell can pull from right to left and get out and lead, and that's what occurs on this particular snap. St. Brown, it's not just his ability to catch the ball, make big catches, score touchdowns. I think he's got 10 this year, maybe it's 9. But his hands are incredibly reliable no matter how you get him the ball. Think of all the 4th down plays where he's got the football on inside counters or inside flips. In fact, a couple of run plays earlier in his career prior to 2024. He's a unique football player because of his ability and willingness to block, in my opinion. I also suspect that he has played hurt a lot in the last 2 years, and there's probably some injury designations to prove that. I'm just going off of memory and watching him compete. We will show the toss counter one time through here, and then I'll get to what I think makes it even more impressive for me, is that even when a play fails Ben Johnson, there are times when he uses it to set up something else. So this is the aforementioned counterplay to St. Brown. It occurs while the Packers are actually ahead 28-14 in the 4th quarter. There's St. Brown. It's 11 personnel, and it's from a formation that I would call ace. Some people call it wing slot. Laporta motions across, make it look like toss. St. Brown gets the inside handoff from Goff, goes for 10 yards. This isn't the play that they score on. They actually score on a 3rd and 1 touchdown pass to Tim Patrick later on. But look at what you've got going here with Gibbs faking the toss and then Laporta out on the edge, getting the lead block potentially. But look how intricate this is. The space that Laporta and St. Brown have to ensure that they navigate inside of. Essentially, Laporta is the tight end. Laporta is the fullback in this moment. He's playing fullback on a toss play, a fake toss play to lead out to the outside, and they're trying to get inside linebackers to step and at least look in that direction, if not flow. And in this case, it works. Sets up a situation where when you get the second time through here that we look at it, you'll see that one of the inside linebackers, number 58, didn't even have to be blocked. We're going to rewind this. This is going to be late 3rd quarter on a 4th and 1, one of the 5 4th downs that Dan Campbell went for in this game. And you've got Gibbs set up back here as the lone tailback. We all know how this works out. There's something wrong or messed up here on the front side between St. Brown, Brock Wright, who went in motion, and Penei Sewell, random enough or rarely enough, misses his block, in fact, on Quay Walker. He's got a fantastic angle to go get him, and Quay Walker just goes underneath of it. But also, simultaneous to that, you have St. Brown stepping to the outside where Brock Wright is motioning. Guys, this is the same setup. Same exact setup. Tight end in motion. Across from left to right. Goff snaps the football, reverse pivots, very similar to Laporta on the counterplay. Brock Wright is getting out in front to go block. Gibbs on the toss concept. We know he gets TFL'd. These guys messed this up entirely, St. Brown and Brock Wright, in my opinion. One or both of them is messed up. You can't allow inside-out runners to flow like that. When you combine it with Sewell's inability on this particular play to get to Quay Walker, you've got disaster. It would take a look at Sewell on this play and compare it to the counter. It's the same exact motion, tight end across. Sewell, in this case, is going out to try to get Quay Walker. On the counter, you get the same exact motion by Goff, reverse pivot, and then toss the football in this direction. Only difference is obviously he's faking it, and then on the counter, Sewell is pulling along with the guard. So let's get back to the play that we're really trying to discuss and break down. I like to point out patterns or sequences of plays, and here you have a very important, a critical fourth down stop that the Packers made, develop momentum for them. Again, I believe they go down and take a 24-21 lead thereafter. The Lions have been able to convert a third down on this drive in the fourth quarter, get down here inside the 20-yard line. Couple of things to mention. Number one, the boundary side safety, I think it's McKinney, has walked up. Watch Jameson Williams basically go crack him, seal to the inside. St. Brown steps. He's got to open, but he can't open too much. His open step can't gain ground, meaning he can't gain ground back this way. Why? Because he and Laporta can't run into each other. Got the same exact motion with the tight end that I just described with Brock Wright on the toss. And the cool thing is, it's Gibbs again. So it's not Montgomery in here when you're running a fake toss, because they don't run toss to Montgomery, at least to my knowledge. He's generally not going to be a guy that they run outside run concepts, whether it's toss or pitch or something like that. The end zone angle of the same play. And one thing to mention here is how or why Tim Patrick is lined up on the line of scrimmage. So he's lined up here because Zeitler and Sewell are pulling to the boundary, to the play side, from left to right for us, right to left for the offense. As a result, because of this one technique on the backside, the center's got to block back on him. There is no one to go get this OLB. So the way that it works out and the way that Detroit has schemed it up, Tim Patrick is going to go and try to dig him out of there. Essentially, scoop him from the backside. Patrick's going to try to get his body on this side and keep the OLB or D-end edge defender, whatever you want to call him, to our left on the screen. I let it run through multiple times because of the scheme and the fake toss nature of it that didn't have to block the inside linebacker, number 58. He's sliding or stepping with the motion. He has the boundary side safety down here, so it's not that much of a problem for me for him to almost cross the midline. But because he's unblocked and Sewell bounces it, Sewell and St. Brown bounce it, you get a great crack block on McKinney to the boundary side safety by Jameson Williams. Ends up being a 10-yard gain. St. Brown. I mean, it shouldn't surprise us that Ben Johnson runs this with a guy like St. Brown's. Number one, he's extremely versatile. Number two, he's reliable. I get the sense that St. Brown is a guy, well, really the reality is maybe this whole Lions offense is full of guys that you could install something on a Tuesday or a Wednesday, and they'll go out and run it efficiently on Saturday or Sunday, depending on when you play. That's a unique thing, in my experience at least. Does Ben Johnson have all these anomalous play calls already installed and they just cycle through utilizing them or practicing them during the season? That's actually my suspicion. I kind of put that theory out there maybe 4 or 5 weeks ago that Ben Johnson has, quote, trick plays in his bag or installed, and the players practice them in pods or rotational sequences whereby there's 6 or 7 players pulled out to practice some of those trick plays while the rest of the offense is over doing something else. And then they rotate, essentially pods, station work. And that's a way for me, in my experience, that I've been able to see people get a lot of repetitions on a particular skill. In this case, it would be practicing their core or base. Well, what is their core trick plays? Like I suspect that the core number of trick plays for an NFL offense is probably 5 or 6. I think for Ben Johnson, it's probably tripled. Perhaps that's an over-exaggeration, so feel free to let me know if you think it is in the comment section. My suspicion is that he has dedicated time periods to practice these things, probably when the press is not able to view or see that portion of practice, and that allows them to be smooth in their execution in games because players have got a lot of reps. And when I say players, I mean more than just the first-string guys. You got to be able to execute all of the scheme no matter who's on the field. No, fake toss counter isn't a trick play, but in 2024 in the NFL, It's an extremely rare concept to see run in the first place. And then made even more so, in my opinion, by the fact that they're running it with a wide receiver, St. Brown, who can play pretty much anywhere. We've seen him line up in the backfield on one of Tim Patrick's touchdowns, his fourth down touchdown, I think in the first half. St. Brown lines up at running back, really draws the attention of the Packers defense. I think this is a really cool play. In fact, I have a lot of experience with it. One of the coaches that I worked with for years, he ran an offense where the toss and the fake toss counter was a huge aspect to what they did. And he would complain about this play, in fact, because St. Brown ended up bouncing it. The wall, the path of the counter back, the Z in our offense, is supposed to be a little bit tighter to the wall. It ended up bouncing outside and working out for the Lions. Appreciate you guys' time. There's no definitive statement here other than trying to just explain the concept to you guys and describe what I think is a setup earlier on the failed fourth down toss to Gibbs. It kind of, I think, opened this play up even more when the Lions needed it in the fourth quarter. Appreciate you guys' time, man. Let me know what you think of the video in the comment section, number one. Number two, if you think other Detroit Lions fans would appreciate this film study look at Amon-Ra St. Brown on the fake toss counter against the Packers, then please consider grabbing a link to this video, sharing it out on social media to help this content get more reach.